All right. All right. Once again, welcome to our virtual annual meeting. We're so glad you could join us today. So don't forget to say hi in our comments so we know you are watching. On behalf of the Capital Area United Way Board of Directors, thank you to our sponsor, Petroleum Service Corporation. Without your support, we would not be able to host a virtual event today. The 2019-2020 year brought many celebrations and many challenges. We kicked off last year's campaign season with our largest attended annual meeting to date, and went into the fall, which hosted many campaign events and our most successful Jambalaya Jam to date. Towards the end of the year, we were able to distribute funds for the first time to projects in Ascension Parish specific grants. But no one could have imagined that 2020 would bring with it a pandemic. This was uncharted waters for all of us, but together we realized that we could get through anything as a community, and the Capital Area United Way would be there every step. As my time of board chair comes to an end, I would like to thank the staff, board members, and all the volunteers for making 2019-2020 year the success that it was, and for laying the groundwork so that the Capital Area United Way has the resources to meet whatever challenges our community may face in the future. I'm very proud to pass my gavel to our 2020-2021 board chair, Capital Area United Way, Aaron Stanford.
All right. Thank you, Robert. I'd like to personally thank you and Hancock Whitney for your service on the board over the last year. And I'd like to share with our audience two interesting facts about Robert's term as chair. While he was serving the Capital Area United Way, two of his peers at Hancock Whitney, market directors, were also serving as chairs in their respective United Ways in South Louisiana and in Mississippi. So, Robert, again, we want to thank you, also Hancock Whitney, for your generosity and time and certainly your resources. A second fun fact about Robert's term. So Robert took over board chair the summer of last year. And in the spring, a few months right before his term began, it was announced that Hancock Whitney was buying Mid-South Bancorp. So anyone who's gone through mergers and acquisitions understand that's quite a full plate right at the beginning of chairing the board for Capital Area United Way. But Robert, you stayed focused. Your leadership was never wavered. You were engaged the whole time, and United Way is a better place for having you had served it. So thank you very much from the board. So you're welcome. As board chair, again, I'd like to thank you all for celebrating and joining the meeting today. I wish we were at LaBerge. We'll hopefully be back there next year, but we've got a great meeting in store for you. Through the governance committee, the nominations and election of board members were held prior to our virtual annual meeting. We said goodbye to some great folks who rolled off our board this past year. And as always, we thank you for your volunteerism and for serving the community. Those individuals are as follows. I'd like to draw a special recognition to these four board members for several years of continued service to Capital Area United Way: Les Gatz, Dr. Stuart Gordon, Greg Gilbo, and Michael Tipton. Thank you for your service to the board. As board chair, I look forward to leading a new group of volunteers this year. On your screen, you'll see our slate of 2020-2021 board of directors. And I'd also like to welcome our new board members. Our newest board members: Sherry Osbury from Entergy, John Brown from Blue Cross Blue Shield, Glenda Miner as our finance chair, and Nick Spryer with Emergent Method. Thank you, and I look forward to working with all of you. As I look out across the next 12 months of our term, as with any position, you certainly are thinking beyond the 12 months of your responsibility. And the board and I would like to invite you on a journey with us and ask you for your support. We'd ask you to do two things. We'd ask you to be carriers and connectors of United Way. Carriers of the message. Spread the word in our community, the good work that United Way is doing. Know the resources that are available. Know the great work that United Way is doing, everything from serving the Alice population to 221. But also be a connector. For United Way to continue to meet the needs of the greater Baton Rouge and the 10 parish community that we serve, we have to bring more people into the fold. That is the mission of our board for not just the next 12 months, but the years ahead. Top performing United Ways across the country have one thing in common. They have a ton of community support, and you're here today as a representation of your support. But we'd like you to again be carriers and connectors. Connect other people to the United Way. Introduce volunteerism to folks in your place of business, in your churches, in your communities, in your neighborhoods. But that's how we'll continue to reach our goals. If we expand the participation, if we expand the volunteerism. And with that being said, it's absolutely my pleasure to introduce our next presenter, Michelle Hardy of Turner Industries, who is the Director of Public Affairs and Community Relations. Michelle is our incoming Chair of Resource and Development, and she's going to be guiding us through the next part of the presentation. So Michelle, thank you very much.
Good morning. Thanks, Aaron. Each of us here today knows that Capital Area United Way has been and continues to fight for the education, income stability, health, and basic needs for everybody in our community. By being a part of United Way, we demonstrate our commitment to the community, a community that I am very proud to be a part of. You and I do it because it's a smart investment that delivers results through the programs and projects that help people every day by working on the underlying causes of the problems for a better tomorrow. As the 2020 Resource Development Chair, I don't take this lightly because this is a year like we've never had before. It will take our continued financial resources and our time to continue improving our community. Last year, under the leadership of the 2019 Resource Development Chair, Aaron Stanford, who is now the chair of our board, we saw an increase in workplace campaigns and total support to the Capital Area United Way. These areas of revenue came through individual donors, company donations, sponsorships, grants, and yes, the great Jambalaya Jam. So 2019, the Jam had a record-breaking year. They raised over $152,000. And if you weren't there, you missed a great time. The Louisiana Chemical Association reached out to us to put together a video about the Jam and why it's so important in our community and for companies to get involved. And we must thank the premier sponsor of Jam every time we see the money that was raised, the fun that we had, which was Shell. So Shell, thank you so much. And thank you, Louisiana Chemical Association, for the video. And we're going to roll the video right now so we can take a look.
We are competing for the Jambalaya Cook-Off for Capital Area United Way. We're representing ExxonMobil.
It's a great time for us to get away from work, enjoy some time together, and enjoy some good jambalaya.
Sponsoring the Jambalaya Jam is just a part of our efforts to participate in the community. We're really happy to be part of supporting the United Way.
Funds raised here today help fund the many programs and services in our 10-parish area.
We're cooking together, trying each other's appetizers, and it gives an uplift to the whole campaign.
We talk a lot about representing the creative energy of Louisiana. This is one of the ways in which we do that.
Even though these organizations compete in the same industry, when they come together here, it's all around one purpose and one cause, to help better our community through their efforts and through their contributions to Capital Area United Way.
So in Louisiana, we all know we like to have fun and raise money. Last year, over $250,000 were raised through golf tournaments and even more through special events our companies hosted to benefit United Way. But as the campaign was winding down, and you all know what's coming next, COVID-19 happened. The nation seemed to be at a standstill. But once again, Capital Area United Way continued to push forward, and you stepped up to the plate. Through the generosity of our community, we raised over $427,000 through the COVID-19 Community Relief Fund. And that is still active today. So what does that mean to you and me and our community? It means that more people in our 10-parish service area will need our continued help to get through this along everyday challenges that so many of us face. I know we are stronger as a community. So in advance, thank you for living united. And as I mentioned, the 2019-20 year was a great success. And we are very excited to recognize individuals, organizations, and companies who help us get there. We wish we could see these smiling faces today, but again, we're all connecting through the internet, through Facebook and Zoom. So I would like to take this time to introduce George Bell, President and CEO of Capital Area United Way, to present our first award.
Greetings, Michelle, and thank you for that introduction. Before we jump into the awards, though, I'd like to present a special recorded message from our sponsor, Petroleum Service Corporation.
Welcome. My name is Twana Pulliam, and on behalf of Petroleum Service Corporation, we welcome you to this year's 2020 virtual annual meeting. You're joining us because you believe in United Way and its dedication to the fight for the health, education, income stability, and basic needs of every person in our 10 parish community. As partners of United Way, it is our task to help make that fight possible. The last couple of months have been challenging, but together we have shown that we can truly make a difference in the community when we come together. Petroleum Service Corporation is proud to once again sponsor this event. United Way has been our mission of choice for our employee campaign for many years, and we look forward to continuing our support for years to come. At Petroleum Service, we take pride in being the best at what we do because of what you have done, what you are doing now, and will do in the future. You are helping United Way be the best too. Even though we couldn't celebrate with you in person this year, we invite you to give us a hello and tell us where you're watching us from so we can celebrate with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Tawana. You know, I'm truly honored to present our first award for Outstanding Board Member, which is given to a board member who has devoted their time and talents to improve Capital Area United Way and ensure that we have the resources necessary to make a real impact on our community. This year's recipient is Robert Schneckenberger with Hancock Whitney Bank. You know, under Robert's leadership, Capital Area United Way has achieved its best financial position in recent history, greatly improving our operating reserves and giving us a firm footing in the areas of impact as well as resource development. He's also been a champion for Capital Area United Way's United We Feed initiative, supplying both resources and volunteers from Hancock Whitney in providing fresh produce to Alice families in our region. Now, even though Robert has stepped down as our board chair, his commitment to community has not stopped. Robert and his team have served over 35,000 meals in the last 3 weeks in Lake Charles area and have contributed over $475,000 in hurricane relief. Now they are looking to support our neighbors to the east following Hurricane Sally. Again, congratulations, Robert, on a job well done. Thank you. Now, our next recipient is for the Myron Falk Award given to one of our own Capital Area United Way staff members. This individual is both nominated and selected by his or her peers, which makes it all the more special. Named after our first executive director, who was appointed in 1952, this award exemplifies extraordinary dedication and commitment to our community and our organization. This year's honoree is Dolores Hurst. Dolores came to United Way as a corporate relationship manager and quickly transitioned from fundraising to the impact side as our Director of Community Impact, Income Stability. She has always stepped up to the plate when duty calls. She took on the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program mid-year and has managed to grow relationships that have allowed her to expand the scope of income stability beyond just VITA. Her work is truly focused on serving the Alice families in our community. She is humble, never looking for praise, and grateful whenever praise is given to her. She is passionate about her work and the organization, and we couldn't think of anyone else who deserves this honor more than she does. So congratulations, Dolores. Now, I'm especially honored to present our next award, which is our organization's highest award for exemplary leadership in the community through volunteerism and philanthropy. This is the Tocqueville of the Year Award. This year's recipient is Newton Thomas. I met Newton Thomas over 4 years ago, early on when I started here at Capital Area United Way. And I will tell you, to spend time with Newton is like spending time in a master class on corporate culture and how to create a sustainable corporate culture within an organization. Newton has been a longtime supporter of United Way because he believes in both the mission and the purpose that we serve. And I was just honored that he took the time to sit down with us a week ago, and we have captured the moment on video. So here's Newton Thomas in his own words accepting the award.
Let me say, I don't know if I can express how honored I am to receive this award. And I just realized, I don't know if George showed this or not, but this is the most beautiful thing that will have a place of recognition in my home, because I'm kind of retired. It is not going to be in my office, but it is a tremendous honor, particularly because I think so much of the Baton Rouge Area United Way, the organization, the leadership they've had over the years, the culture, and the role they played in our community. So to receive an award from them is just beyond comprehension rewarding to me. I've had a career where they've been a cornerstone of our charitable giving. In my company, we have always wanted to do charitable good works, and that has always been a cornerstone of how we could go about doing that. And if you're a young business just starting, as I was at one point in time, they can do things that you don't have the flexibility when you're in a startup to do, of researching institutions that are providing valuable services that are needed services in the community. Over the years, I've watched them go through different processes to try to make sure they're picking the best and the brightest organizations and holding them accountable for delivering on their charter. And that's very difficult for anyone to do as an individual corporation or an individual that is wanting to do charitable good works. And sometimes you can have a personal involvement in a nonprofit, and that would give you an awful lot of insight. And I've been in that role where I've been involved in a nonprofit and then have adopted that as a special cornerstone of our giving, where we're supporting it and are totally familiar with their ability to meet expectations. United Way has always been a fundamental block. We've even got our own foundation, and we get advice and we get applications and all kinds of nonprofits that are looking for support. And it is hard to commit the resources to try to evaluate all of that. And that's, to me, for an awful lot of organizations or people, an invaluable resource that the United Way represents. One of the things as a businessman that was always attractive to me, that was a big part of the publicity about the United Way early on, was their low overhead. So the majority of the money that you give to United Way is going directly to the charitable organizations that are worthy of that support. So I am rewarded personally, emotionally by getting this, and would hope that I could encourage others to be supportive of the United Way, because it is just an exceptional organization that top to bottom people I have dealt with are committed to the betterment of the community and the provision of services that are difficult to provide other than through the nonprofit world. And again, thank you all very much, and thank you for listening, and I'm honored and appreciative.
Newton, thank you so much for your years of dedicated support to Capital Area United Way and for serving as an example of corporate leadership and creating the kind of partnership with Capital Area United Way that just benefits our community greatly. So thank you very much and congratulations. Now I'm going to hand it back over to Michelle Hardy, who will continue with our award.
Thanks, George. Over 297 companies and organizations run workforce campaigns to benefit Capital Area United Way. And we want to take a moment to recognize these campaigns that have excelled this past year. Our premier award recipients are listed on the screen, and they are recognized for their efforts in running a first-time workforce campaign. Setting up a campaign is really easy, and your corporate relationship manager from United Way will be there with you every step of the way, so you can get started, grow your campaign, and most importantly, give something back to the community. Next, we have the Advancement Award recipients on the screen. This recognition is given to those workforce campaigns that obtained a 25% or more increase in employee giving. As you can see, we had great success in increasing workforce campaigns this year. Our corporate relationship managers met with each individual workforce campaign to discuss what an increase would look like and to set goals for their campaign. As our needs for the community increase, it is vital that our giving increases so we can meet the needs of our community. The Campaign of Excellence Award recipients are those companies and organizations who have met two of the following criteria: an increase of 10% in employee giving from the previous year, $100 or more in employee per capita, which is the average amount of employee by the entire workforce campaign, 50% employee participation. If you've ever run a campaign, participation is the key to the campaign. When everybody participates, we all make a difference. And finally, to have one or more Gottlieb Society members. A Gottlieb Society member is someone who gives at the leadership level, which is $1,000 or more. Our last category is the Chairman's Award, which are those companies who reach all four of the criteria I mentioned. Congratulations. And for those of us who are not on the Chairman's Award, I challenge you next year, if you're running a workforce campaign, let's fill this Chairman's Award page up. Our next award is the ECC of the Year. While campaigns begin with support from the top level executives and CEOs in our company, it's often brought to life by someone we call an employee campaign coordinator, or known at United Way as the ECC. They are individuals and or committees that truly exemplify what it means to live united. This year's recipient is so a great person, ran a great campaign, deserves this tremendously. It's Joseph Britt with Westlake Vinyl. This past year was Joseph's first year to run his company's campaign. He helped his company run a successful campaign, which included, now y'all ready for this, increased employee giving by 191%. Westlake Vinyls, under Joseph's leadership, went from $9,000 to over $26,000. An increase in special event revenue from $5,000 to $55,000. Increase employee participation by 50%. and that participation is vital to the success of any campaign. And Joseph doubled the number of leadership donors which contribute as $1,000 or more. Joseph, United Way, the community cannot thank you enough for leading such a remarkable campaign. Now, please join me in welcoming Capital Area United Way's Vice President of Resource Development, Amy Shortis-Kruziak.
Thank you, Michelle. Next up, we want to recognize a very special company with the Achievement Award for the largest per capita in the workplace campaign. The largest per capita is based on the average amount given by a workplace campaign. And this year, New Star averaged $1,188 per gift. This group leads with a small but mighty team of 40 employees and have 90% participation from these employees. Of those giving, 85% give more than $1,000, qualifying each to be a member of our Godly Society. They are always keeping the forefront of our community in their minds, and giving back is very much built into the company culture. They are often one of the first companies to reach out during a disaster to see how they can help. They not only contribute to their community monetarily, but serve as volunteers throughout the region. Again, congratulations, New Star, on this amazing achievement. Next is the Corporate Excellence Award. This honor is given to a company who continuously provides excellent financial and volunteer support to the community through United Way. This year's award's recipient is BASF. BASF shows their support through the traditional employee giving campaign, as well as numerous fundraisers, volunteer projects, and event sponsorship. These sponsorships include United for Vets that assists military veterans and Women's United. BASF employees continue to volunteer for various Capital Area United Way committees and boards. With strong leadership, passion, and support from the CEO, the ECC, management, and all the BAS employees, we present this award to you. Congratulations again, BASF. Our next presentation is for Volunteer United Award. This is presented to an individual who has gone over and beyond the volunteer efforts. This year's recipient is Karen Smith with Convent Shell. Karen has gone above and beyond year after year with her leadership for the Shell Convent Golf Tournament that solely benefits Capital Area United Way. She leads a committee in obtaining door prizes, registering teams, and running the tournament. In the last 15 years, Shell has raised over $1.2 million through this tournament and other special events for our community. Last year, over $190,000 was raised, and this tournament is recognized by the chemical industry as one of the ones to follow. Karen shared with me one of the principal beliefs that her ancestors instilled in her, and I quote, "We will be known forever by the tracks that we leave." Karen, I assure you that you are and have and will continue to leave your tracks in our community. Thank you so much, Karen, for your passion. Again, congratulations. I would now like to welcome our Community Impact Chair, Amanda Stout with McGlinchey.
Amy, I hope you are all hanging in there with us. And if you've joined us midway, please feel free to say hi in the comments. I'm excited to continue with our presentation and present the next award to one of our impact grantees. The Impact Grantee Award is given to a grantee who has been responsive to the changing needs of our clients and the community through exceptional services and programs. They serve as a model organization for collaboration, and they demonstrate best practices that enhance the quality of service and life for the clients they serve. This year's recipient is the WALLS Project. The WALLS Project offers a bold vision of what's possible in a community, leading effective programs, community collaborations, and high-impact events that help break through and tear down the societal walls and economic barriers that discourage or prevent people from living safe, healthy, and prosperous lives. The Walls Project is a recipient of CAUW's COVID and Ascension Parish grants. They've demonstrated their strength in leadership by convening nonprofits and community leaders through weekly check-ins to discuss the challenges of COVID-19 that our local communities are facing. One of those challenges was food insecurity, and as an organization, they formed the Food Insecurity Coalition. It's a coalition that works with growers, distributors, and funders in the area to solve food resource challenges for the Alice population. Congratulations to the Walls Project. Thank you for the work that you're doing in our community. Next is the Alice Award, which is given to a partner or an individual that shows commitment to the Alice population, those who are asset limited, income constrained, employed. This year's recipient is Associated Grocers. Associated Grocers not only saw an increase in their workforce campaign, but they also recognized the needs of the Alice community right when the COVID-19 pandemic began. When most of us entered quarantine, frontline workers maintained day-to-day operations to keep our community running. Many of those frontline workers are also Alice and needed extra support. Associated Grocers stepped up with gift cards to local grocery stores. Through Physicians United and Women United, those gift cards were distributed to single mothers and unsung heroes who were working the front line. Please join me in giving a virtual round of applause to all of our award recipients. Throughout our work at United Way, we continue to serve the Alice population. Last month, a new Alice report was released revealing that nearly 49%, almost half of our population, is considered asset limited, income constrained, employed. You will hear more about Alice shortly, but I wanted to share a few notes on ways that United Way is helping the Alice community. During the last year, CAUW opened its first project-based grant opportunities, which provided a mechanism for funding outside of the existing 3-year grant cycle. Project-based funding allowed Capital Area United Way to be more responsive to the needs of our community this past year. We were excited to award $301,087 to 28 grantees. In addition to project-based funding, we also awarded $100,188 to 10 nonprofits for impact work in Ascension Parish to specifically address and respond to the needs of that community. This year, with the COVID pandemic, CAUW reacted and responded to community needs with different types of crisis funding. This was uncharted territory, but as an organization and board, we knew that our nonprofits were hurting, which directly impacted the valuable and necessary work that these organizations perform in our community. In an effort to be more flexible and responsive, our board of directors and Impact Cabinet approved an early release of Q4 funding to our 3-year impact grantees. In addition, we announced 3 different COVID funding grant opportunities that included Safe Operation Grants, which assisted agencies in obtaining critical PPE and supplies so they could resume operation, and 2 programmatic funding opportunities, which provided grants for new programs specifically designed to address COVID-related needs in our community. We also formed United We Feed, a basic needs initiative that leveraged corporate and community partnerships to provide fresh produce access to our community's Alice and poverty populations. As the needs in our community change, and as an organization, we will be there and adapt as needed. As we look toward the future, the Impact Cabinet and Board are analyzing the new Alice data and the needs of our community in every corner of our 10-parish region. Our goal is to remain flexible in order to meet the changing needs of our community and to invest your dollars in areas where we can have the greatest impact. It's now my pleasure to present to you our keynote speaker, Dr. Ashley Anglin. Dr. Anglin is a Director of Research and Strategic Analysis for United for Alice. In this role, she researches, reports on, and supports the development of new Alice tools and collaboration. Her aim is to ensure that all reports and tools are accurate, engaging, accessible, and lead to action that helps the Alice household. She's a community and cultural psychologist with a master's degree and doctorate degree from the University of Hawaii. She also holds a graduate certificate in public policy and executive philanthropy. Before joining the Alice team, she worked in community engagement and health improvement for a large health system and has been involved in community development and community organizing efforts in the United States and in Costa Rica. Welcome, Dr. Anglin.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here today and to really see all these well-deserved awards and accolades and the amazing levels of partnership and community action that are going on in the Capital Region. I really appreciate this opportunity to get a glimpse of the wonderful work that you're doing. And it's also a wonderful honor to be here today to share with you some key data and trends on financial hardship across Louisiana and the Capital Area region. So in other words, I'm here to talk to you about ALICE. And what I can see from this presentation is that we all know ALICE. ALICE is asset limited, income constrained, employed. ALICE lives in every county in the US, in urban, rural, suburban areas, and across all age groups. ALICE is our neighbor, our friend, our coworker. Many of us on this call might identify as ALICE. ALICE households have incomes that are above the federal poverty level, but below the basic survival budget. They work across industries, but often in low-wage jobs, working as cashiers, healthcare workers, security guards, laborers, office administrators, all of these key jobs that really keep our economy running and are vital, and during the time of COVID have become those essential ALICE jobs. A lot of times, ALICE households also don't have enough money for savings, for emergencies like a pandemic, or for investing in the future in education, homeownership, retirement. ALICE households were struggling before the pandemic, and they're facing new and worsening issues now, which is why they need all of us. And more households are falling below the ALICE threshold as employment rises, especially in those low-wage jobs. So today I want to take you through some key trends and data to show you really why COVID hit so hard for so many, and really point at those areas where we can work together to improve lives for ALICE and for all of us. We're seeing a couple trends across Louisiana and in the Capital Region. And the first is that the cost of living increased for ALICE households, especially for food, childcare, and housing over the last decade. We're also seeing worker vulnerability increase with growth in low-wage jobs and more fluctuations in hours, schedules, and benefits while wages stagnate. And then as a result of that, the number of ALICE households has increased, even during a period that we labeled as the recovery from the Great Recession. And while there's been a spotlight on poverty, which remained flat at around 18% in the state, the number of ALICE households continued to increase, rising from 22% of all households in 2007 to 33% in 2018. When ALICE and poverty are combined, a total of 51% of all Louisiana households were unable to afford the basics. And this was before COVID hit. So this data provides a critical baseline for understanding the impact of this pandemic. Here you can see the ALICE survival budget. So the essential household items for housing, childcare, food, transportation, healthcare, technology, miscellaneous category of about 10% for cost overruns, and taxes. These are the essentials, and you can see it for different household types here. So you can see for the region the cost for a single adult, a single senior, and for a family of 4 with 2 adults, an infant, and a preschooler for the 10 counties in the Capital Region. This is an average, so varied costs across counties, but it gives a good picture of the different household types, and it shows a comparison to the federal poverty level, which you can see there for 1 person and for 4 people in the gray bars. And this falls woefully behind the actual cost of living. And the cost of these basics is increasing. So the cost of living increased more for ALICE households than overall inflation as measured by the Bureau of Labor Statistics Consumer Price Index. The CPI covers a large range of goods and services that consumers buy, including things like apparel, appliances, recreation, vehicles, things that most ALICE households can't afford, or at least not on a regular basis. ALICE households are focused on the essentials, and that's what's captured by the ALICE Essentials Index. And what we see is that across the country, the ALICE Essentials Index has increased at almost twice the rate of the CPI over the last decade. So in other words, the cost for the things that matter to ALICE the most are increasing faster than other goods and services, and that has a big impact on households. At the same time, and during the same period, what we're seeing is that low-wage jobs are also increasing. So in that blue line that's cutting across the screen, you can see those are the jobs that cannot support the household survival budget, even with 2 earners. So that's 2 people working full-time year-round and still not able to afford the basics. And that makes it hard for ALICE households. At the same time, the jobs that can support the household survival budget with 2 earners, those medium wage jobs, are decreasing. And even more significantly, the jobs that can support the household survival budget with 1 earner, those high wage jobs, have decreased even more over this period of time, which has a huge impact for ALICE households. The total number or percent of low wage jobs went from 29% in 2007 all the way up to 48% by 2018, which really shows you the shift in the labor landscape. Those jobs, those low wage jobs, increased 68% during this period of recovery. So we can see it wasn't actually a recovery for a lot of Alice households. And as a result of increases in that cost of living and wages that weren't keeping up, the number of Alice households is growing in the capital region. This was up 13% during this period of time. There's also external factors, for example, flooding in the region in 2016 that can be a contributor along with these rising costs. And so these things combine to actually increase the number of Alice households during this period. And what we end up with then is by 2018, before the pandemic even hit, approximately 48% of capital area households had income below the Alice threshold. There's 15% in poverty and another 34% that are Alice. And there's wide variation within the region. You can see that here, ranging from 38% of households unable to afford the basics in Ascension Parish to 59% in St. Helena Parish. Due to additional challenges and systemic barriers, many groups are more likely to be below the Alice threshold. So when we look at families with children, we see for single females an astounding 87% of these households, so households led by single females with children, were below the Alice threshold, unable to afford the basics. For single males, that was also pretty high at 64%, and that's compared to only 21% for married parent families. So we see that it's very difficult for single parents in the region to make ends meet. By age, we see the youngest and the oldest households are struggling. Households headed by someone at the age of 25, 78% of those households were below the Alice threshold. And for those headed by seniors, 54% were below the Alice threshold, unable to afford the basics. By race ethnicity, we see Black households with 66% below the Alice threshold, and two or more races and Hispanic households, both around 60%, compared to 40% of white households. And we see the disparities here have been growing over time in a lot of these populations. These households are also ones that are struggling disproportionately during the COVID-19 pandemic. COVID-19 is having a major impact on families with children in the capital area region. In your region, 35,000 households with children were below the Alice threshold in 2018. And with COVID, we're seeing a disruption to normal life, especially for children. Children who are able to get free or reduced lunches through school now may be struggling to get those resources. We see challenges related to routines and stability, and the ability of parents to work from home is limited when they also have to care for children or assist in remote learning. The digital divide plays a very big role in this. Across the state, 39% of Louisiana households were below the Alice threshold don't have internet access, compared to 11% of those above the Alice threshold. And we know Alice school employees also have faced issues related to the pandemic with losing jobs related to janitorial work or food services or other jobs that aren't needed or at least at the same capacity when schools are closed or when they're moved to more remote and digital learning. COVID-19 is also impacting seniors. There's almost 39,000 seniors below the Alice threshold in the capital area region. Seniors often live in close conditions, meaning that they're at higher risk of contracting COVID. And there's also holds on non-essential care, making it more difficult for seniors with chronic issues or other problems to get the care they need during this time. There's also the issue of isolation for seniors, which is always an issue, especially in care facilities. But now when people are separated from their families, those issues can be exacerbated. And then we know that Alice caregivers, paid and unpaid, are often now shouldered with more responsibility and fewer supports. And we also see disparities and additional impact for households of color, with Black households contracting COVID-19 at higher rates than their white counterparts, and also institutional barriers to access to the basics. Alice workers across all groups are also particularly vulnerable during this time. Leading up to 2018, the labor landscape has shifted significantly, with more workers paid hourly in jobs with less stability and fewer benefits. And by 2018, only 24% of working age adults had the stability of a full-time job with a salary in the capital region. And there are also more adults out of the workforce than there had been in many years. COVID-19 is making kind of a split within these workers. So what we're seeing is that essential Alice jobs These are the folks who have been working throughout the entire pandemic and keeping everything moving, might have limited access to personal protective equipment, and may have no choice but to work even when safety might be a concern. The non-essential ALICE workers, often more working in the gig economy or hourly, are often the first to lose jobs during this time. And we also know that the digital divide is a major issue for ALICE workers who may not be able to work remotely, even if given the opportunity. So we really need to be able to support these workers across industries. And many of you doing this work here and on these calls are doing a great job of taking care of those employees during this time. So in summary, over the past decade, a time that was labeled as a period of recovery from the Great Recession, we saw a substantial increase in the cost of essentials. Employment growth driven by jobs that don't cover even basic wages, and a growing number of ALICE households. While we sang the praises of an economy in recovery, ALICE households never really recovered. They need our support still. And things only got worse for this often too hidden population. Unfortunately, without substantial intervention to redirect our course, we're on track to see the same thing, this trend of growing financial hardship. But this is also an opportunity to reimagine what a strong economy could look like, and one that takes us past the status quo that wasn't working for almost half of capital area households. One that supports ALICE and in turn benefits us all. Because we know that by strengthening communities, by strengthening ALICE families, means a higher quality of life for all of us. If you'd like to learn more about this data, there's plenty more where this came from. These are some highlights that I hope that you've enjoyed today, but you can visit our website to learn more at unitedforalice.org/Louisiana, where we have interactive maps, demographic data, parish profiles, our methodology, lots of other things that you can dig in and take a look at. And we really appreciate the chance to present this and to share the work that United for ALICE is doing in partnership with United Ways across Louisiana. Thanks again for this time, and it's wonderful to see this work. I applaud you all, and thank you for your commitment to ALICE.
Thank you, Dr. Ashley, for sharing your expertise on ALICE and why this data is so important to helping us understand the needs in our community.
Thank you.
Also want to again send a thank you to our sponsor, Petroleum Service Corporation, and all our participants today. Robert, Aaron, Michelle, Amy, Amanda, and again, Dr. Anglin. A special thank you to our board, our employees, our corporate partners, and donors and volunteers. For without you, none of this would be possible. You know, it's been 95 years that over 95 years that Capital Area United Way has served this greater Baton Rouge community. And this year has been a year unlike any other. But we're still here, and we're still looking forward to building on the success we have attained over the past 12 months. You've heard examples of the wonderful contributions that have been made to the success of this organization from our donors, from those volunteers, from those ECCs who are on the front line of helping us raise the funds that are so necessary to continue this work. We've heard from Newton Thomas, who gives us an entirely different perspective on the importance of supporting corporations and individuals supporting the work of Capital Area United Way. And then we heard from our leadership. We heard from our board chair, outgoing board chair, as well as our incoming board chair on how important it is for us to keep this work going. Nothing can demonstrate that more by the recent events. And I'm speaking of Hurricane Laura and the relief that we were so fortunate to be able to provide to those Hurricane Laura evacuees who are spending time in our city in local hotels away from home. We were fortunate in that we were able to, in partnering with Walmart and with some very special donors who helped us to build enough dollars to purchase gift cards for those folks to use in purchasing essential supplies that they so desperately needed. We're grateful for that. And then we have this COVID-19 pandemic, which continues to linger and remain ever present. We're here and we're committed to doing what is necessary to make sure that our community remains safe and can come out of this successfully. Now, I have to take a few moments to share a few updates with you, and to because part of what I see our role is to not just do the work that we do, but to also inform the public on things that are important. One is our census, our 2020 census. So please be sure to fill out your census and respond by September 30. Your response will ensure our share of federal funding over the next 10 years. And it is very important now more than ever. Visit www.2020census.gov to learn how to respond to make your voice heard. If you've already responded to the census, please help someone else. Please pass that information on so that we can ensure accurate representation from our state of Louisiana. Next, I'd like to also mention that our virtual Jambalaya Jam, sponsored by Shell, will occur on Thursday, October 22nd. Although we will not be able to gather like we have in the past in downtown Baton Rouge, we look forward to ensuring we can all still enjoy festivities in some form or fashion. So details about that will be coming out shortly. So please look for that. And then lastly, Capital Area United Way has been asked or selected to host a day of giving that's going to be held on December 1st. And it's called 225 Gives. This is a community-wide campaign that will give nonprofit organizations a chance to participate in receiving donations through this virtual campaign. Now, this is something that's been done successfully in other communities throughout the country, and even in New Orleans and in the Shreveport area. And we are fortunate to have the generous support of local funders like the Wilson Foundation, like Blue Cross Blue Shield Foundation, and we're honored to host this or co-host this with the Baton Rouge Area Foundation. So be on the lookout for additional information about this in the form of a press release that will be released next week. But we are honored to be a host for that very important event. In conclusion, I just would like to say thank you. Thank you for everything you have done over the last year, to those that have worked so diligently on helping Capital Area United Way get through this year successfully. Thank you to our volunteers again, because we have a small but talented staff, and none of this work would be possible without the support of dedicated volunteers who show up. And then lastly, thank you to the donors and the corporate partners that are so generous with their time, treasure, and talent. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on this virtual annual meeting. And I look forward to seeing you on the campaign trail. And as always, remember to live united.